Hello guys, what's up? This is Murtaza from A Coder's Journey. First off, if you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, please make sure you give it a like and share it with a friend. And if you're watching it on LinkedIn or other platforms, please pay a visit to my channel on YouTube, A Coder's Journey, and make sure you subscribe so that you do not miss out on my upcoming videos. Now in this video, I have decided to talk about some of the most important and practical features of Visual Studio when it comes to writing code and editing code as well, because we spend a lot of time in Visual Studio, but unfortunately I think that most of us fail to take full advantage of this great IDE. Visual Studio offers a rich set of capabilities and features which can help us be more productive when we want to write code. There are many features. I have selected the most important ones, and I'm gonna go through them one by one. I will give you some examples so that you better understand these features, and you can start using them, and these of course will help you be as I told you, more productive, and will help you to write better code. Now, I think here by the way, in Visual Studio, I have created a simple console application, right? And I think the most important feature when we want to write our code is IntelliSense, right? It helps us to write faster and, with less error, right? Here in Visual Studio, in this console application, you can press Control Space, and the IntelliSense comes up, and based on the context, it will give you some options that you can use. Now, for example, here I can say, I want an integer variable. I'm going to call it my age, and I'm going to say this is 32, right? So Control Space, use it a lot, guys. As I told you, Control Space just shows the IntelliSense, and then you can use this for writing your code. Another one that I use often is Control K, Control X. So if you press Control and then press K and then X here, right, this pop-up will show up, right? Insert snippet, and then you can use the different code snippets in order to write your code. So Control K, Control X. So instead of, for example, going for right click and then coming here and go to snippet and then, for example, select insert snippet, you can simply press Control K and then X, and then you can, write your snippet. By the way, I have created some snippets for myself. And for example, I'm going to say action method, and this will create an action method for me. So Control K, Control X, very, nice to use. Another one that I use a lot is when you want to move some lines of code, some lines of code up or down. For example, suppose here I have a lot of, let's say, console write lines, right? And for example, here I'm going to say goodbye. Here I'm going to say good afternoon, right? Now, suppose I want to move this line of code, 2 levels up, or for example, I want to move this line of code 2 levels down. All I need to do is to put my cursor here, and then I will press Alt from my keyboard. I will hold down Alt, and then I will, use the up arrow key, and the down arrow key to just move these lines of code up or down. You can also select more than one line of code, and then you can move them up and down. This is very useful. I think very easier to, for example, select this and then move it here. You can very easily select and then hold down the Alt key and then move your lines of code up or down. Another technique that I really like is whenever I want to cut a complete line of code like this one, I probably need to go to my mouse and select this and then press Control X from my keyboard. This is again I think very tedious. You can simply put your cursor on the line of code you want to cut, and then you can press Control L from the keyboard, Control L, and this will, cut that line of code. And then you can, for example, come down and using Control V, you can kind of paste it here. So remember, Control L can be used to cut a whole line of code. Another technique that I really like is whenever, for example, I use a method or a member from a class. For example, here I am using this WriteLine method of the console class. Now, suppose I want to take a look at this method and see, for example, the different parameters of this method or the different overloads, right? I can put my cursor here, and then I can press F12 from my keyboard, and I will be navigated to this method, in the console class. And as you can see here, it is taking a string, a nullable string, and then, you can see the body, and also you can see the XML comment, the comment of this, method. So pressing F12 kind of, navigates you to the location that member was defined. And of course, if you do not want that, for example, file to get opened in a separate tab, you can press Alt. You can, hold down your Alt and then Alt key and then press F12. This will, allow you to kind of take a look at the declaration of this, as you can see in this pop-up, and then when you're done, you can simply go and close this. So Alt F12 or F12 will, navigate you to the location that member, for example, that method was introduced. Another one that I usually use is Control F and Control H when I want to find, the different words, the different occurrences of a word, or I want to, for example, replace a piece of code with something else. For example, here, suppose I want to replace these write lines with write, because, the console class has also a write method. So I'm going to press Control H, and then I'm going to say, find the write lines and replace them with write. And then you can also specify the scope. For example, will this operation take place only in this current document, all of the open documents, right, in the current project, right, this current project, or in your entire solution, means all of the projects that you have in this solution. So of course, right here I have only the write line in this document. So I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna say write line, and then I'm gonna either replace all or replace them one by one, as you can see, or I can say replace all, and all of them will get replaced. And of course, you can control the casing. For example, suppose here I also have console.writeLine, right? Something like this. And then, for example, if right now I go and press replace all, of course, this one will also be replaced. Or I can say that casing is important for me. Do not replace this because it is all in camel case. I just want to, replace the write lines which are used, which are declared using this casing with a capital W and with a capital L. So if I go on, and this one will, of course, not get replaced. And of course, I'm gonna get rid of this. You also have Control F. With Control F, you can say, for example, show me all the write lines. And the casing, for example, is important for me. And you can also, specify the scope, the current document, all open documents, and so on and so forth. Another one that I use a lot is when I want to comment out a piece of code. For example, whenever I want to debug my code, or for example, I want to add a comment, I can, of course, go on, and then, I can add slashes at the beginning, right? Which is, of course, very tedious. I can, let me get rid of this. I can come here, I can select this, I can then press this button coming out the selected lines, or I can simply select the lines of code I want to turn into a comment, and then I can hold down the control key, and then press K and then C from my keyboard. And if I want to remove the comment, again, I'm going to select these lines of code, I'm going to press Control and then press K, and after that press U, and I will, remove the comments like this. Again, very handy to use. It will help you become more productive. You can very easily, comment out different pieces of code when you are debugging your app. Another feature that I really like is navigate to. Now, in order to show you somehow this, feature, I have created another class, person.cs, as you can see here. 3 simple properties, a simple method, and here in my program.cs I'm gonna press Control comma, and then this pop-up will show up. There are many buttons here. I'm not gonna get into the details of working with these. I'm gonna write something here. I'm gonna say print, and as you can see, this is the method that we have. So just by writing the name, the first few letters of the name of this method, Visual Studio will very quickly find this method, and then we can of course click this and we can be navigated to this method. Or for example, here I'm gonna say let me come here and again press Control comma, and then I'm gonna say fname. As you can see, fn, first name will show up, and then I can navigate to this. So this Control comma, this navigate to feature, especially in very large projects, it's going to be very helpful because it kind of helps you to navigate through the different files and the different code elements, methods, properties, and so on very quickly and rapidly. And then of course you can using these back and forward methods, you can navigate to where you were. For example, here you can press Control comma, you can say fn, right? You can say you can come here, you can do something with this, and then you can press this backward button or Control minus, right? And then you will be navigated to the place that you previously were working on. Another feature that I sometimes use is working with regions, because they're kind of useful when you want to organize the different parts of a class, right? And of course you can collapse them, you can expand them, right? And if for example you want to kind of expand all of the regions that you have in a class, you can use Control, you can press hold down the Control key, and then you can press M and then O, and this will expand all of your regions. And if you want to collapse all of them, you can again press down the Control key and then press M and A. So Control MO and Control MA will help you to kind of collapse and expand the different regions, and they're very helpful. As I told you, they're a way to organize the different parts of your classes. Again, another feature that I sometimes use is what it is sometimes called box selection. So for example here, let me get rid of this, right? Let me get rid of this. And as you can see here, we've got 3 console.write line statements. And if I want to, for example, delete all these 3 consoles, right? I can go on and I can select them one by one, and I can delete them, right? Which is a very tedious thing to do. Or I can press down, I can hold down the Alt key from the keyboard, and then just select like this. When I come down, I will select like a kind of a box, like a rectangular box, and then I can come here and I can press the backspace key and get rid of all of them, right? So hold down the Alt key and then start selecting your words, and then you can, for example, delete them. Or for example, for these, you can go on and turn these console write lines to write like this. Another technique to edit multiple lines of code at once is to use multiple carets. So in order to do that, for example, suppose here I want to get rid of these right lines, and I want to convert them to console.write. So what I can do is to just hold down the shift key and the alt key from my keyboard, and then I will start pressing, and then I can press backspace and turn them into the write method. And when I'm done, I'm gonna press escape from my keyboard, and these are the changes which I was looking for. So one more time, you just need to hold down the shift key and the alt key from your keyboard, and then press and then click in different spots, and then make your changes. And after that, you can press escape for your changes to kind of commit in your editor. Another nice feature that I use is to format my documents. Suppose in this class I'm gonna mess up with the formatting, right? I'm gonna mess up with the indentation, and then I'm gonna press Control K and then D, and as you can see, Visual Studio will format everything for me. So one more time, you hold down the Control key from your keyboard, and then you press K, and after that you press D, and this will format the document very easily, which is a nice feature to use. Again, another nice feature that I sometimes use is when I'm working, for example, on a big class, on a big method. I want to, for example, temporarily hide some pieces of code so that I can better, concentrate on the code I am working with. So what I will do is that I will select, the lines of code I want to hide, and then I will press Control M and H. And as you can see, the code kind of gets hidden, and then I can double click and it will, show up one more time. Again, you will, select the lines of code you want to hide. You will press down, hold down the Control key, and then you will press M, and after that H. And if you want to show this, again, you can, hold down the Control key and then press M and O, or as I told you, you can double click this and this will, reappear in your code file. Now, another technique that I sometimes use, especially when I am working with, the names of the properties, methods, or strings, is that sometimes, for example, I want to make a piece of string all in, for example, uppercase. For example, here I'm going to say string full name in uppercase, right? And I'm going to say, for example, my name, right? Now, in order to make this text into uppercase, what you need to do is to just select it and then press down Control Shift and then U from the keyboard, right? So one more time, if you hold down Control Shift and then press U, you will turn this, text into all caps. And if you want to, again, make it lowercase, you can press Control U from the keyboard. So hold down the Control Shift and then press U to make it all in uppercase, and then Control U to convert it to lowercase. This is again something that might become handy whenever you're working with strings. And that was the last tip I wanted to share with you guys. Again, if you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, A Coder's Journey, make sure you subscribe and activate that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video. And if you are watching it on LinkedIn or other platforms, please pay a visit to my YouTube channel, and you can watch a lot of my series there. Thank you so much again for watching, and till the next video, bye-bye.